The new character release method may not actually be new. In fact, it looks very similar to a character release method that we've seen in the past. Can we learn anything from that particular event? Will that help us right now to understand the best ways we can take advantage of this new release method? What does that mean for the future of Marvel Strike Force? We're going to be talking about that today. In fact, let's get into it right now. If we recall, when Peggy Carter came into the game, she came into the game as a member of the Rebirth team. We know her now as a person from out of time, but she was a member of the Rebirth team. And her release event looked very similar to events that we see right now. For example, we had to do raid battles to partially unlock the character. We had to use campaign energy. And by doing these things, we would advance a milestone. If you completed the milestone, you unlocked the character. Now, the other metric that was involved in that had to do with character orbs. You would get these character orbs, and inside there would be all types of other characters that were not Peggy Carter. In fact, her percentage of drop rate was very low compared to the other characters. This made the community very angry. Why? Because generally speaking, when we play Marvel Strike Force, we are conditioned that when we open an orb, we're getting the character for the event. But this event was different. You see, again, the drop rate was very low, so individuals were upset by that. However, I made a video at that time stating that this was actually one of the best releases ever, one of the best release methods ever in Marvel Strike Force. Well, why did I have this opinion where other people were dissatisfied? It was because we weren't paying attention to what the actual release method was. See, whatever you got inside of those orbs, it didn't matter. The contents of the orbs did not matter. The point was to advance the milestone. If you completed the milestone, you unlocked the character. So we completed the milestone by doing the raids, by spending campaign energy, and by opening the orbs. So you might say, well, Gideon, you're talking in circles. You're contradicting yourself. No, that is not true. See, the contents of the orbs didn't matter. You could get 0 Peggy Carter shards in the orb and still unlock the character. How? By completing the milestone. And you had an in-game lever, an in-game metric to do that. If you used your gold to just open orbs, right? By my calculations, as a free-to-play player at that time, 2 million in gold would unlock the character, regardless of what drops you got, right? If you wanted to just go nuts for 10 million gold, you didn't even have to do the campaign. You didn't have to do the raids. For 10 million gold worth of orbs, you could unlock the character. So think about that for a minute. Was this a difficult event or was it easy? Maybe we just need to scale back for a minute, right? Sometimes they say you can't see the forest for the trees. So let's pull back for a minute and look at the event overall. Let's say there was a character that was in the supply store, right? Your new character. They were going to be there for 7 days. In order to get access to that character, let's say you had to do 50 raid battles and spend 5,000 campaign energy. If you did that inside the 7 days, that character would be in the store for 2 million gold. That'd be an easy unlock, wouldn't it? Absolutely. And that's exactly how the Peggy Carter unlock went, the woman out of time unlock. If you follow that logic, it was a simple unlock. Okay, but we got confused because we were focused on one of the metrics. We focused on, well, what I'm getting in the orb won't give me the character, and that was true. But the orb was not the unlock method. Completing the milestone was the unlock method, and you could force completion of the milestone by using your gold. Does that have any bearing on the current modern day new character unlock? Absolutely, right? All of the characters right now have some type of milestone event, and in that event they have some type of orb, right, with a ridiculously low drop rate, right? We open and we look at the contents of that orb and people are upset because there's a very, very small chance to even get one character shard in these jackpot orbs, as many people are calling them. Well, it's because the contents of those orbs are not the release method, right? Individuals are saying that this is how we're supposed to unlock, but that is not true. The contents of the orb are not the release method. By opening those orbs, you advance the milestone. So that's something we can control as free-to-play players. We can push a little bit here, push a little bit there, get more and more of those orbs to help move the milestone along more quickly, right? People are saying that this is supposed to be a 2-month-long unlock. Well, you can speed that up by getting more of those orbs. I would not spend money. I'm not saying to spend money, but if we can push a little here, push a little there, and unlock more of those orbs, why not do that? Well, we remember the Arena Annihilator weekends where individuals were getting 10, 20, 30, or more of these orbs. You're able to push that milestone that much farther. And this is a caveat, right? We're not expecting to get a big monumental drop, but you do increase your chance the more of those orbs you get. And it's much more reasonable that you might get an extra 5 drop or might get an extra 10, 20 drop, something of that nature along the line. There is a new pity system. We're not 100% sure how it works, but the more orbs you open, the closer you get to having those jackpot mechanics happen. We don't have to bank on that. But what we can do is get a hold of the orbs and push the milestone forward. In addition, there is another metric, there is another lever, another input that we can use. So just like in a Peggy Carter event, you had gold that you could use to unlock the orbs and close the gap on that milestone, right? You could complete that milestone just by spending gold and unlocking orbs. Can we do something similar today? Absolutely. We can buy power core orbs, right? We can buy power core orbs for the assigned character. 675 power cores. That's a guaranteed 6 shards, right? 100 shard unlock characters, right? That's 6% every single time, 6% closer to your goal. Now, again, power cores are a premium currency. So maybe along the line, as we have been playing, we've been kind of programmed that, hey, we shouldn't be using, we need to save those power cores. But we want to be mindful of is right before they announced the change to the character unlocks, right before they announced it, they changed how the power core economy worked. For example, the top 3,000, go look at your arena, the top 3,000 people in arena will get 150 power cores per day. That's enough to cover your normal refreshes when it comes to your campaign, right? That's something some people are expected to do that free to play. It's kind of built into the system. It covers that. The top 3,000. So anybody who puts forth any type of effort will have that portion covered. What's more likely? Well, you can probably make it into the top 500 of your arena. And with a little more effort, you can probably get into the top 100. So on my main account, I kind of fluctuate in between that 100. Sometimes I get pushed out of there, right? So what does that mean in real life? Well, in real life, that means at baseline, you're starting to accumulate a stash of cores, right? And when you get up to that 500 mark, you can probably buy 1 orb a week, right? I usually try to keep a stash of 5,000. That's just a number that I made up. And every time I hit that 5,000, I buy an orb. I hit the 5,000, I buy an orb. That's how I do it. There's people that do things a little bit different. But you can probably get about 1 a week if you get in that top 500. If you're able to stay in the top 100, then you can probably use 2 to 3 a week, right? So let's think about that in terms of numbers. If you can do 1 a week, right, that's 6. So at 6, 12, 24 by the end of the month. You're 24% of the way there, pushing forward on that milestone. If you can get up to 3 a week, that's 72 in that same period of time. 72. You're 72% of the way to the unlock in that same period of time. You're going to make those two ends meet. That's how the metric works now. That's how the unlock works now, right? You're pushing on one end just by opening orbs and moving the milestone forward, and you can close that gap on the other end by using power cores. This is part, in my opinion, this is part of the unlock process now, right? Or else they wouldn't have made the adjustment in line with the new character release method. This is part of what we're supposed to be doing. And it's not hard, right? I'm going to unlock Omega Sentinel today. At the time this video release, I should be unlocking Omega Sentinel. How many Omega Sentinel shards do you have? Many of the community have 20 or less. Why? Why couldn't you have it done right now? You could. It's not very difficult. We just have to adjust our thinking, right? We have to pull back and look at the system as a whole and see where we can make adjustments and make changes. We can't be focused on this one thing, that this character isn't appearing in the orb. See, these orbs are actually, it looks like they're pushing in different directions. They're doing different things for us. We got one right now that's just feeding us raid energy, right? We might think that that's not important, but it is. So now in my alliance, people can be done with the raid, with the Orcus raid, inside of like 5 hours. Because you can just sim through. You have enough energy. You can just sim the whole thing, right? If you have the teams made and appropriate, if you have the teams available, right? And we can have that by speeding up these unlocks. It's something that we can do. Now, how will that affect Marvel Strike Force in the future? Well, it just encourages us to really keep an eye on the changes. When things change, well, what can we do as free-to-play players to still stay in competition? Right? It is reported many times that Scopely is trying to kill the free-to-play. And that's simply not true. That's foolish. That's not a good business model, right? They want there to be a gap between the free-to-play and the spender community, but they don't want that gap to be insurmountable. Because otherwise, if you decided at some point in the future to start spending, you would need a reason to do that. The whole carrot on a stick method. So as a free-to-play player, you want to be able to see and say, well, if I spent a little bit here, $5 here, $5 there, I think I can close the gap on that bottom group of spenders, right? They want to keep that in sight, or else you wouldn't do it. And then that exists all the way up, right? They need a reason to upsell you all the way up. $5, $10, $20, $50, $500, $5,000, right? This isn't something that you're just going to jump into overnight, but there always needs to be sales conversion. That's what businesses do. And if you can't see the result, if you can't see the taillights of the guy in front of you and believe that you can catch that person, then you're not going to spend anymore. So the gap is never going to be insurmountable. We just have to figure out the rules of the game so we can play accordingly. That way we can always stay prepared. As they say, if you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. So work together as a community. Try to keep each other prepared for the changes. And if you see if you see something that can be capitalized on, you see an adjustment where you can take advantage, then do so. Right? Like one of the things that we saw with the Odin release is individuals use their power cores to stockpile energy to score in a leaderboard. And now you have a lot of people free to play that have Odin. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to understand that as free to play players, we're not going to get everything, right? In some ways, it's one or the other. So use this new power core economy in some way to benefit you. If you don't want to do it my way, do it another person's way. Find some way for it to benefit you. Again, we just want to prepare now so that way we don't have to change and adjust in the future. And speaking of staying prepared, we know there's a new game mode coming, Battle World. So we got some videos here talking about the blog post, the Twitch stream that they did. Did they leave any clues as to things that we can prepare for now? I encourage you to check it out.